What I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power.
Hello, Master Game Changers. We are here. We have been waiting. We've been waiting for this, and we've been waiting for you to be able to deliver this message. And I am so delighted that we're here live with you today. This will be a day, if you go in, if you go down, and you go up and you go out with us, is a day that you'll never forget. Master Game Changers, ladies and gentlemen. What does it mean to be a master game changer for you? I'm learning about what it means to be for me. We're going through these 4 pillars of human existence and pillars of life. We're going to start with choose to live. Then we will go in to choose to love. And then I am going to introduce my absolute diva about divas, the former anchor, beautiful woman from the inside out, Delores Jones, co-hosting this event with me today. Delores, share those 3 and 4 pillars. What we'll be talking about today. Will you please?
Yes, we're going to talk about choosing your future, choose to live, choose to love, and choose to be wealthy. And let me tell you something, there are going to be things that are going to hit you. So we're going to invite you to take out some paper and write down the things, because this is about you learning strategies to shift into a legendary life. I am so excited about it. You know, Les Brown has often said, if you are carrying strong feelings about something that happened in your past, they may hinder your ability to live in the present. And that's why we're asking you to just come on board. We're going to take good care of you. And let's just say, you know, like he says, it's possible. And you all go ahead and repeat that after us. It's possible. And have a spirit of expectation. Go ahead, Dr. Jody.
Oh, it's going to be Dr. J and Delores Jane. See, we're just changing our initials. Okay? JD, DJ. Isn't that hilarious? That is wonderful. And I'm telling you, choosing your future. Les Brown, the Les Brown, will be here momentarily in about an hour and a half on our broadcast. He will grace our stage, but he graces people's lives each and every single day with choosing your future. His signature piece, think about it. This is over 35 years old. I listened to this when my children that are now 40 and 41 were in elementary school.
Wow.
Choosing your future. You don't get in life what you want. You get what you are.
Yes.
He says it. It's been said most people die at the age of 25, get buried when they're 65. Make an effort to live you and your life to its fullest now. And Delores, I know you have a couple of amazing quotes as well. Please share.
Well, one of the things I remembered is that Les Brown says, in life, life is a fight for territory. And when you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And that's why we're here today, to help you change the game. We have the strategies to help you shift into a legendary life, to have not just what you want, but what you deserve. I am so super excited to be here with you, Dr. Jody. I know that we're in store for a wealth of information. I am just hungry, as they say, for greatness. So let's just keep moving on forward. Dr. Jody, what do we have up next?
I think you've got a couple of quotes about living hunger from your heart. And
Oh,
I know
yes.
that please share, because you are the quote queen, just like DJ Mohamed, that we're going to hear from in a little bit, is the quote king. Quote queen, give it to us.
All right. So, life, we want you to live life from the hunger of your heart. When you fill your heart with what you hunger for, your mind will find the way to achieve your desires. And that is definitely from the one and only Mr. Les Brown. I am so excited. It's possible to open up the key. A new whole future awaits you. And that will give you access. It's going to give you access, okay, to the unlimited power that you have within you, within yourself. And that's all that you need to believe, is it's possible. You don't even have to figure out how. You just have to know it's possible. And the viewers, listen, all of the speakers, from Dr. Jody, from Delores Jones, to just ending the whole thing with a big bang from I'm calling him Dr. Les Brown. Honey, we're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you. And then you're going to take it. You're going to take it. And you're going to make the necessary shifts for your own life. All right. So we're inviting you to also share the link so that other people can be a part of this transformative experience of a lifetime. Dr. Jody?
And I want to just first and foremost, just thank you, Dan Gilman, for everything that you've done. You talk about being behind the scenes, give what you can and take the rest. He is absolutely just a total giver. He's been amazing with the production, Gene Beretta, our own IB, Dabo, and I can tell you that DJ Justice, as another DJ, Delores Jones, yes, a DJ Justice with our music. But most importantly, thank you, KP Media, Keisha Puckett, and the whole crew for just giving us this platform, being able to go out and be and live a life that is truly a game changer. So I guess it's back to you, Delores, and we have our first speaker, and I think you know who she is, who you're going to introduce.
Well, Deona. That's who I have for you today. Dr. Jody. Yes. I'm going to introduce you. Okay. The fabulous one. You know what? You don't really need an introduction, but I'm going to give you one anyway. When we think in terms of a health coach, let me tell you something. The one and only Dr. Jody is a certified health coach and holistic nutritionist with over 40 plus years of corporate training. Now, the 1,500 Fortune 100 and 500 companies, including the Department of Defense, have had a taste of what she brings. Over 1 million pounds of toxic fat loss. Wow, that's a lot. And over 2,000 COVID-related situations. Dr. Jody, you have the answer. You help your clients reclaim their health, and the best-selling author with Mr. Les Brown's latest book, Ignite the Hunger in You. I'm ready. Set my soul on fire, Dr. Jody. Set us on fire.
Delores, you just set my soul on fire. And my goodness, we've got Delores, we've got Joe D, we've got Deona, we've got DJ. Isn't that funny? Tracie, if you're in this pillar, we just need a D for your name as well. But thank you. Thank you for coming together. Thank you for that kind introduction. And I just want to start things out at the very beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to be a master game changer? Are you ready to be a master game changer, to shift into this higher gear? It is now. It is now for you to make that shift, to be all that you can be. So I want to share my quote with you at the very beginning. Write this down. I hope it means something to your heart, as it meant to me. When you take care of you and your world first, the world around you is taken care of and empowered forever. Are you ready to be empowered? You see, right now in our world, vax, no vax. Get a vaccine, get COVID. Don't get a vaccine, get COVID. What about the war in Ukraine? How about what we're dealing with these nuclear threats, not to mention the inflation nation, food prices, gasoline, everything is going up. And what does that have to do with you personally? Everything is about you, and it's about me. I know I can't see you, but I can feel you. So let's feel each other together, shall we? Let's say it together. Ready? Choose to live. Do it again. Choose to live. And I mean, choose to live. In our present culture, we've gone from a tummy ache to a bellyache. One out of every 5 households have mental illness involved. Sometimes it's 5 out of 5. Then we've got the U.S. Police Academy said over 75% increase this past year, over 75% in domestic abuse, and 50% of them are deaths. Then we've got the suicide rate, obesity. I know that one really, really well. 85% of all North Americans are considered morbidly obese. And then 70% of children are in the same category, not to mention the decedent beneficiaries of New York Life. This is from their statistic. It's up 65%, over 12%. What are we to do? What are we to do? I'm Dr. Jody Baer, and I know this firsthand. I know at 40 years of healing and alternative practices, I know that your health is a master game changer. Your health, and then you can have the rest. As Delores mentioned, I'm honored to have over 1.1 million pounds of toxic fat lost, and 2,000 COVID clients have reclaimed and regained their health because they chose to live. Les Brown says, this thing called life, when has any of these above, those events that I mentioned, hit you out of the blue? They have now, haven't they? Well, how about a personal situation? Anything hit you out of the blue? Myself, I'm a 24-year-old young girl, classically trained vocal musician, on my way to sing Handel's Messiah, a solo performance with the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. Broadsided. My next wakened moment, I am face down in a surgical halo, paralyzed from the shoulders on down. My mother came to the hospital the next day, and she looked up to me and said, Jody, the doctors only see what they see. They don't know who you are. And I went down in to my spiritual pillar, into my physical pillar, and I chose to live. And I walked out of that hospital, and I left that behind, and I've been running ever since. What has broadsided you lately? All the above with the news? Les Brown says it is necessary that only you can do what you can do and no one else. So amid all of these crises, I heard this story the other day. Husband getting kind of frisky with his wife and noodling her neck back here. And he goes, honey, what is that expensive fragrance that you are wearing? It must be quite pricey. And she said, well, yes, dear, it is. He pressed in and said, so what is the name of this fragrance? And she said, this expensive fragrance is named gasoline. Yes, even ladies, with the expensive fragrance of gasoline, we are the hub of the wheel. Our pheromones choose and show others how to live. Those pheromones make the hub of the wheel and make the harmony in all relationships. Stress, we have felt stress in the last 2 years like never before. Uncle Harry didn't die of a heart attack. He died of inflammation. But now Aunt Harriet has overtaken Uncle Harry. Per capita, female deaths are #1 over men for heart attack. We say that they died of inflammation, but they really was beget with stress. So what do you do when life lives on us? What do you do when all of this stress comes upon you? I want you to write these 7 things down. I hope they will be of meaning to you so you can choose to live this legendary shift in your life. Perseverance is #1. I will until spring and summer always follows fall and winter. Push, persevere until something happens with patience. My life verse says, I will be okay. I said that over and over and over again in that hello. I will be okay. All things work together for good, not some of the time, not the majority of the time, but all the time, with passion, with focused emotion, but 100% passion, no matter what. And then we have persistence beats resistance every single time, every time. Then you will have peace to keep that mind focused on the things above, and you will know what the next thing to do for yourself here, because eternal things come through peace and power. Power. What you're going through, as Les Brown says, you will get through. Visualize yourself as being the Band-Aid for someone else's pain, and then present. Today is a present, so use this time. It's the only time we have. Spend it wisely. You see these chess pieces on the back of our green screen and our event graphics. See, these pieces to shift into that legendary life lie in choosing to live in this 6-pillar health. I teach it every single day of my 40-year practice, and they start, and I share it with you. Spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. The pawn is the physical pillar. The pawn can absolutely be the soldier, your immune system to keep you healthy. The rook, the castle, is around the barrier of the chessboard. This rook shows you what to do for your own personal boundaries, who to have at the kitchen table, who to have in your block, in your town, in your country, and who to leave and live with them, not with them, but have them live off the planet. And then you've got the bishop. He can go diagonally everywhere. That's your spiritual pillar, because you will have direction in destiny. That knight is the mental pillar because he's sharp, he's acute. He can go in that L-shaped form in a mental, just like that snap. The queen is the most powerful piece of all, because we women, I've already said, we rule this world. And then you've got the king, the financial pillar, one square, any direction, all the time. So master game changers choose to live. Wallace D. Waddell said in his Science of Getting Rich 110 years ago, there's a thinking stuff on which all things are made, and it's an original state, permeates, penetrates the interspaces, and fills the universe. What if that universe is you? How about right here, right now, you decide to choose to live in those 6 pillars, to let your life have meaning as a master game changer, to fill, to permeate, and penetrate the inner spaces of your universe. Because health is not something you do, it is who you are along life's journey. Go to my blog and my website, healthcoachjodi.com. That's Jodi with 2 E's. Go and look at the 30-minute walk in Qigong principles. I have an alkaline chart. I also have 10 rituals to rock your day and confidence tones that will help you with energy and will show you how to shift into that legendary life. But in closing, I want to do this one thing. I want you to put your hand on your heart with the right heart. Just right here, right hand on your heart. Okay, you feel it? It's that pulse. Put your left hand over it. You feel how your pulse gets stronger because together we need each other. Fellow game changers, audience, people that will be watching this, friends and family, in this collective consciousness, it is bigger than anything we can personally do that will ever hit you out of the blue, because you can, together with me, you and me, we can change the world. Yin and yang, slow down to speed up. It truly begins with me and it goes to you. As Les Brown says, what you're going through, you will get through. I believe this when I was in that halo. Your diagnosis is not your prognosis, because when you take care of you and yourself in your world first, the world around you is empowered forever. Les Brown says, it is now. Life has no limitations except the ones you make. Start living in that limitless future now. Master game changers, master your game changer move now. No checkmate, because now, spelled backwards, is one. So which vitamin is most important? Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E? I suggest it is vitamin me. Take a healthy dose to empower you and yourself in that world every single day in mind, body, and spirit. And you will be a game changer for yourself and your world for the rest of your life. And I am Dr. Jody Baer, and I approved this message. And now we are going on to another amazing, amazing game changer in this trifecta that we're doing, choose to live, this pillar. And Deona Onyango, what a pleasure to have you on stage, and what a pleasure it will be for you to share your story. Deona is a grounded woman of faith, and grounded so that it is who she is with her family, and she impacts the others in her lives as well. Her family, her husband, and she does it corporately as a corporate consultant doing health benefits. So she has her life benefiting others, not only in the real realm physically, but emotionally and spiritually, I know. So Deona, the next 10 minutes is yours to be that game changer that you are. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Dr. Jody. Good afternoon, everyone, my Master Game Changers family, and our phenomenal mentor, Dr. Les Brown. I'm so happy to be here today to just share a fraction of my story with you. My story, God's glory. So growing up, my mother would often say, "Oh, you're just like your father. You don't get in a rush for anything. You don't get upset about anything. You're too laid back for your own good." Now, although she might have used this as somewhat of an insult, I never took offense. I thought it was a good thing that I could stay cool, calm, and collected under pressure, like my dad. So don't get me wrong. We all have our boiling points, but some of us heat up faster than others. Some of us are more like pots, while others are more like pressure cookers. How would you define yourself? Are you more like a pot or a pressure cooker? If you identify as being a pot, go ahead and place a 1 in the comments for me. And all my pressure cookers out there, please drop a 2 in the comments. Now bear with me, I'm going somewhere with this. You see, when you place a pot of water on the stove, and you ignite the flame, once the pot reaches the boiling point of water, the water begins to convert to steam and it evaporates. However, Nathan Marvold, former chief technology officer with Microsoft, pointed out pressure cookers are interesting. By pressurizing the vessel, you're able to cook much hotter than the boiling point of water, but yet still have water present. The water is not consumed. Now, this reminds me of the story in the Bible in Exodus of the burning bush. The bush was set ablaze, yet the bush was not consumed. Now, how could this be? How can you cook hotter than the boiling point of water and still have water present? How can a bush be set ablaze and the bush not be consumed? Ladies and gentlemen, when the trials of life show up, and indeed they will, we ought to be able to withstand some pressure. Les Brown will tell you life is hard and easy is not an option, but he also says, I won't quit until I win. I've adopted a similar mantra. My mantra is either I win or I win, period. January 2015, I was diagnosed with papillary thyroid cancer. I was pregnant with my son at the time. And January 2015, I was diagnosed with papillary thyroid cancer. My doctor had felt a nodule in my throat the year earlier when I was pregnant with my son, but she said, we'll just do an ultrasound for now for a baseline. We'll wait till after the baby is born and check you again. So a year later, I went back for a follow-up visit, but I was already pregnant again. So she said, let's do another ultrasound to see if there's been any changes. The new ultrasound revealed that the nodule had more than doubled in size. So ideally, it's not the regular course of action to have a biopsy while pregnant, but she said, you know what, we need to go ahead and biopsy this. She said, women have these type of masses all the time. They're normally benign, and I'm sure you have nothing to worry about. We just need to be sure. I went and had the biopsy. The doctor who performed the biopsy said, oh, I have one of these nodules myself, and it's benign. It doesn't bother me, so I don't bother it. However, a few days later, I got the return phone call, which said, it's cancer. The doctor laid out my options. She said, option one, we can operate and remove your thyroid, which is going to guarantee a good rate of survival for you. However, it puts your pregnancy at risk. Or option two, you can continue with the pregnancy and opt to have surgery later. However, it will greatly decrease your rate of survival, and likelihood is you will also lose the pregnancy. But the choice is yours. So I told the doctor, I'll think about it. I'll get back to you in a week. Now the Potts in my family got fired up. They said, what is there to think about? Have the surgery. You can have another baby. We can't have another you. But the pressure cooker in me said, be anxious for nothing, but all things by prayer and supplication. Make your requests known to God. So that's what I did. I took my 7 days. I got quiet, spent time with God, and made my request known. I simply asked God, can we both live? Can we both live to tell this story and give you glory? But I also said, not my will, but your will be done. If my assignment ends with giving birth to this baby, it just will. So I went ahead and had surgery in January of 2015. The doctor told me they would not monitor the baby during the surgery because if things were to go south, there would be nothing they could do about it. I woke up in the recovery room feeling like I was absolutely on fire. I soon discovered I was on a heated bed and my throat was absolutely inflamed. The nurses came in, they began checking on the fetal monitors, putting them on to look for the heartbeat. The first nurse told me she didn't find the heartbeat. After 7 or 8 tries, she went ahead and got a more senior nurse to have a second look. The next nurse, same thing, wasn't able to find the heartbeat. After her second or third try, she said, I'm going to try one more time. If I'm unable to locate a heartbeat, I'm going to have to call the doctor in to make the official call. I looked at both nurses and I reassured them, she's fine. On that final attempt, the nurse was able to find the baby's heartbeat. They looked at each other, they let out a big sigh of relief, and they looked at me as to say, how did you know? I knew because God had already honored my request. So I was confident in that, and I knew I had nothing to worry about. I named my daughter Zoe, which means life. She was born June 10th, 2015, and she's thriving today. See, I was the vessel to withstand the pressure, but my baby was not consumed. How do you know you are who you say you are? You say you trust God. You say you believe in him. You say you stand on his promises. Those things are easy to say when everything is going well. But do you truly hold on to God's unchanging hand when the pressure turns up? May 27th, 2020 was my 40th birthday. Now, women are advised to get their first mammogram at age 40 unless there's family history of disease or earlier issues that arise. But we were in the midst of the pandemic. So I thought, well, I'll just put it off for a year. Thankfully, my doctor's office kept harassing me with notifications that I was overdue. So I went ahead and had my mammogram so I could stop receiving those notifications. November 30th, 2020, I had my first mammogram. December 3rd, my doctor called me back and said, "I'm sorry to inform you have breast cancer." I soon found out not only did I have breast cancer, but I had triple negative breast cancer, which is viewed as the worst type of breast cancer to have. You see, it's hard to treat. There's a high rate of reoccurrence within the first 5 years, and Black women are 40% more likely to succumb to the disease than their white counterparts. So what are you going to do now, Miss Pressure Cooker? This time around, you get 20 weeks of chemo, total body hair loss, a double mastectomy, reconstructive surgery. How are you going to withstand this pressure? Simple. I chose to live. I didn't let that diagnosis stop me from doing the things that I enjoy doing. I continued loving my family. I continued going and doing the things that I needed to do. I even had a party to thank my original breasts for their years of service. A boo voyage. Ta-ta to the tatas. And we had a great time. Next, I went ahead with chemo. Within the time frame of the 20 weeks, I had a 2-week break after 12 sessions. In that 2-week break, I took a trip to Vegas. I had my double mastectomy in July, but me and my husband took the kids to SeaWorld in August. I went back to work in August. And at the same time, me and 2 of my best friends decided it was a great time to start planning a new business. And we forged ahead. I joined the Speakers Academy for Greatness with Les Brown and the Master Game Changers in November. In January, I had my reconstructive surgery, which had its own challenges, including a couple setbacks and 2 infections. But I still showed up. I was there on Thursday nights for the training. I think I missed 2 sessions. But my Master Game Changers family didn't even know. Just moments before coming online, my husband had to change my surgical dressings and pack my open wounds. I decided to put faith over fear, added in vulnerability over comfort zone, because what was most important was to let cancer know and any other weapon that may be formed against me that it can form, but it won't prosper. My story is to give God the glory. So if you too ever face a health challenge, just know, don't bend to the diagnosis. Like my spiritual leaders taught me, learn to separate the facts from the truth. The fact is, your body may experience an illness, but the truth is, Jesus came that we may have life and have it more abundantly. When you give your life to God and you say you want to be his vessel, you have to be willing to walk through the fire.
I see that you have put it out there for us. Let's just say amen and praise the Lord for your phenomenal testimony. You did stand up. You did decide that you were going to live and not die. We want to thank you all for being here today. And as we said, we are the Master Game Changers. We're giving you strategies to shift to a legendary life. And it starts with you, and it is possible. Dr. Jody is going to join us in momentarily to introduce one of the most phenomenal men that we have. And actually, let me go ahead and do that, because DJ Mohamed is a man of his word, a man with a vision. And I am sure that his testimony, his story, his strategy is going to take you to the next level of your thinking. He is an alkaline lifestyle coach, mindset coach, a entrepreneur, and a renowned transformational speaker and mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage DJ Mohamed Makanjuola. Makanjuola. Did I do that right?
Oh, you almost close. Makanjuola.
Okay.
But what a great introduction.
Makanjuola.
Delores. Thank you very much. What a great introduction. And great job, Dr. Jody and Deona. Wonderful. And yeah, great acts that I'm going to have to come up behind. So yes, here we go. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to begin by asking you a question or two. Are the best things in life not free? How many of you are in tune with your health and well-being? Type a 1 in the chat if that is you. We often overlook our health in this fast-paced world in exchange for convenience, rushing around to pay bills while overlooking the very essential aspects of life. How many of you know someone dealing with heart problems, strokes, diabetes, hypertensions, cancers, autoimmune diseases, and many other chronic illnesses? We all know someone dealing with these symptoms, right? Did you know that all diseases actually start in the gut? That gut is our first brain. The brain in your gut is directly linked to your digestion, moods, health, and the way you think. Let's think about it for a moment. When you're anxious, where do you feel it? Right in your gut, that gut feeling. Let me take you on a journey and tell you more that led me to being an advocate for natural, holistic health and well-being. One cannot be without the other. It's just like the Holy Trinity, mind, body, and soul. I recall being young, born in the UK to Nigerian parents from the Yoruba tribe. Growing up, you can imagine what my food was like. Cultured delicacy, foods and drinks. I never questioned, unless my eyes, nose, and taste buds questioned them, of course. For me, I didn't know it at the time, but I had a bad relationship with food and my environment, based on certain things my elders and society had shown me. Over time, addiction sets in. Type a 1 in the chat if you, like myself, has been guilty of eating McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, and other fast food takeaways. Within a year of consuming food like produce that contain no minerals or nutritional value, which, by the way, our body craves on a day-to-day basis. I went from being body love to Sherman in Not a Professor. I know we've all seen that movie, right? That cycle perpetuated for years and years, especially as a teenager, eating factory boxes of cereal within the week. And I can assure you, my mother was always upset. I ate that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, along with all the cow's milk, like I was a calf, and refined sugars. Not to forget to mention my daily meat intake, harmful chemicals and substances used on my body, Lynx deodorant, cologne, fluoride in my toothpaste, chlorine in my water, smoking weed, cigarettes, occasionally drinking alcohol, and being bad. Portrait of the things that were glorified in my society to be cool, and everybody wanted to be cool, not knowing it came with a price. Who would have thought that food can affect one's mind, concentration levels, energy, emotions, and overall health? I stopped eating red meat at the age of 18. Chicken and fish were my daily consumption up until 2014, after watching a documentary called What the Health. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you do, along with Dark Waters. There, you will start to gain an insight to how we've been systematically broken down by design. Imhotep, the father of all medicines, once said, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food." Even in the scriptures, it mentions that the herbs shall be the healing of the nations. Nature has never got it wrong, nor forsaken us, but man has. Yet we continuously put our trust, health, and money into the very industries that have chosen profits over our health. Or could it be addiction that keeps us going back? Addictions are not just drugs and alcohol, as we know it. They are also your thought There are also your thought process of your self-talk. Food like produce, juices laced with sugars, artificial colorings, E-numbers, caffeines, pharmaceutical medications, and that's just to name a few. What do many school of thoughts have in common? They all figured out that pleasure is not happiness. What keeps us suffering is the constant seeking of pleasure. From a neurobiological perspective, pleasure is triggered by dopamine. It is a molecule of more, never satisfied. It is like a drug that we yearn for when temporarily absent. All dopamine wants is more and more of itself, just like that self-centered friend or two that we may all have. Dopamine is the primary objective to all addictions. It is not just about the pleasure, it is more about escaping reality of suffering and pain that we create for ourselves and has been created for us by society. We must find peace over pleasure, joy within the challenge, and happiness within the process. The process of being alive in the ever-present now. How many of you would love to be wealthy? Type a yes in the chat. Well, your wealth is your health. We have all heard the term coined, health is wealth. That it truly is. We are born rich. Wealth as we know it has no true value. However, it is being exchanged and extracted from the very things that do. Mimicked, packaged, and sold back to you when Source of Mother Nature gives it to us all for free. Everything is energies, frequencies, and vibrations. The flow in exchange for energy can affect your health for better or worse. And one of the biggest factors that enhances energy is love. Love conquers all. Diseases begins at the disturbance of energy that later transpires in physical ways. Many cultures and non-allopathic forms of natural medicines speak of energy, yet Western medicines turn up their noses and don't have much to say about it. Yet we see that it works time and time again. Love, breath, and intimacy are powerful roles in your health survival. If you know there is power in love, breath, and sound healing, comment love in the chat, please. We are comprised of 150 trillion cells. 50 trillion cells belongs to the makeup of the human body. The other 100 trillion cells belong to your parasites, bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Notice how your cells and yourself sound almost identical. You must love yourselves. We all have a vision. Some call it a dream. Regardless, we all desire to live a fulfilled life and to be able to pass it on down to our offspring and future generations. We are truly divine beings, made in the image and likeness of Source. We were created to look after the land. When we join our efforts together, we co-create and build dynasties. Master builders is what we are. Please grab a pen and pad as I begin to close out. I would love to leave you with these 3 gems that can assist you on a journey back to optimum health and well-being. 1, consume fruits and veg within the season. 2, keep your body moving every day in order to support your great lymphatic systems that doesn't have its own pump. 3, cleanse the body every season with a full systemic cleanse that flushes out bad parasites and bacteria. One more bonus takeaway I would highly recommend and implore you and your family to do is read all the ingredients of the foods you purchase and research them thoroughly. My name is DJ Mohamed Makanjuola. I am your alkaline lifestyle coach, mindset coach, and entrepreneur. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful, DJ. My goodness gracious. What a message. Especially you just speak to my soul. Alchemy is key. And it leading in to our next pillar, which will be pillar 2. It's all about energy and it's all about love. But right now it's all about Tracie Michelle Clark. One of a kind, military spouse. And oftentimes we say to military men and women, thank you for your service. But I want to begin saying, Tracie, thank you for serving your family and thereby serving your husband and serving us as well in the United States of America. And she's a successful entrepreneur, mom, coach, advocate in her local community. Isn't that where it begins with you and it goes to me? And she is absolutely does that in such a health-related, choose to live way. Being a registered health information administrator, she helps physicians around the world plug in their holes in their financial pipeline so they can be kings. As we said, that pawn is the financial pillar. Tracie, most importantly, has an obedience to our Savior, and that assignment permits her to speak to masses and sharing her steps, as she said, ignite the power within. So Tracie Michelle Clark, gentlemen and ladies, start your engines. She is going to ignite us. The next 10 minutes is yours, Tracie.
Thank you, Dr. Jody, for that wonderful introduction. And once again, my name is Tracie Michelle Clark, and I want to talk to you about deciding to live when life happens. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to think back at a time in your life when everything was right. You had all that money in the bank. You were in the perfect health, ideal relationship. I mean, your life was perfect. Now, I want you to relish in that for a second. Now, I want you to slowly open your eyes. And I want you to blink. Just that quick. Everything that was right is now wrong. The bank has just called you and said you don't have enough money in the bank. And unfortunately, you have overdrawn and we got to close your account. The doctor has called and said, you know what? The second scan doesn't look well. You're actually sick. You see, that was my life in 2017. Here we were on January 14th, 2017, celebrating my firstborn, who happened to be a senior in high school, 18th birthday. And then by January 18th, 2017, I was getting a phone call from my younger children saying, Mom, our brother just left the house with several big black trash bags saying he's moving out. And I'm like, huh? And so I remember getting off the phone with my children and I called my son. And of course he didn't answer. And so for the next hour, me and my husband sat there and said, how does this happen to us? He's only working a part-time job. He's 4 months less from graduating from high school. And he talking about he want to move out? Man, we want to understand we are a two-parent household. Husbands, active duty military. I'm a successful business owner. All of my children are athletically and academically gifted. And you gonna tell me my son don't want to live here? And don't let me forget to mention that we are a God-fearing family. We believe in a higher power. So how does that happen to me? Let me tell you something. I was so angry. I wanted to slap that boy upside his head. But I knew that wouldn't solve anything. So instead, I had to say, although this is my firstborn, and it felt like a personal failure, I had to get myself together. So I want to share with you today the 3 steps that I took to get my life back together. And I'm going to tell you, that first step was I had to stop. And I had to think. And then I had to decide. Because I had to be ready. Because what I knew is that, listen, I had trained my son and taught him for all 18 years of his life. Son, whatever you start, you must finish. And so the quote goes like this: if a task once begun, never leave it till it's done. Be the labor, great or small, do it well or not at all. And that's what I wanted him to do. And so go back to those 3 steps. Stop, think, and decide. And then I only started with that. It started with how I woke up each and every morning. And so when I would get up in the morning before my feet even touched the floor, I will tell myself not only who I am, but whose I am. Hey, I understand that the Father that I serve, he told me in Revelations that he is the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. So, Father, I'm going to have to give my child to you because I understand that our children come through us, but our children come from God. So I had to give him back to him. And so as I continue to retrain my mind and get myself ready, no matter what phone call or what bad information I got about my son, I started to get back my fight. I started to get back to saying I got still some things to do. I still got 4 other children that love me more than anything. I got a husband that I got to be a wife to. I got a business that I got to run. I got a life to live. And listen, y'all, my life started to get a lot better. Then it came one night around midnight, my phone rang. And I seen that it was my son. And I said, I answered the phone. He hung up. And so you know what I did? I called right back. And when I called right back, he answered the phone, but he didn't say anything. And I immediately started breathing life into him. I said, son, let me tell you something. Nothing you can do can stop me from loving you. Nothing you can do can stop me from ever welcoming you back into our home. Come home, son. And as I'm talking to him, I can hear his voice start to crack on the other end. He was crying. And he says, Ma, tomorrow when I get out of school, I'm coming back home. And I said, okay. We told each other that we love each other and we hung up. And I remember looking over to my husband and we started crying and said, oh, our baby is coming back home. We were so excited. So the next day come, and he did exactly what he said. He came home, and when he got there, I'm going to be honest, it was obvious that he had missed a couple meals. And listen, he didn't come back with half the stuff that he left with. But I was more happy that my baby, my firstborn, was back at home so that our family can be complete. Shortly after, my son walked across that stage. Yes, he graduated on time. And I remember sitting in that graduation and watching him walk across. And all through my mind, the only thing I could replay is what we had been through the last 90 days. But baby, only thing I also can do is give thanks. Because my God not only showed up, but he showed out. Because he allowed my son to be able to finish what he started. So in closing, I want to tell you that life is going to happen. It does not discriminate on who it touches. It doesn't care about your social status. It doesn't care about the size of your bank account. And it sure doesn't care if you love the Lord. Life will still happen. But what I learned from this situation for me and my son is that my son made some decisions, some premature short-term decisions that end up having long-term consequences on his life. And I'm going to tell you something. Nowhere have I read about the prodigal son parents going after him. And so they waited till he came back. And so fortunately for my son, he came to himself and he relented and he came back. Let me tell you something. Life is a gift. Use it wisely. Do not react, instead respond. You deserve to win. You deserve to have abundance. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to have a good life. So the next time Murphy's Law tries to pop up in your life, I want you to remember the 3-step process. Stop, think, and decide. Because remember, I am the example that is possible even when life happens. Thank you. I'm Tracie Michelle Clark, and I'm ready to ignite the power within you. Woo!
Clark, I'll tell you what, we are going to do a little roundtable. You stay right there because you have ignited the power. The chat was blowing up. They said, just be like Tracie. I think we're going to have a whole new thing. We're going to say, be like Tracie, be like Tracie. And I think DJ Mohamed is here too. And we're going to shift to our spotlight here, I believe. You know, this is teaching us how to shift, isn't it? Let's go here. That's good enough. That's good enough. That's good enough. Because I think it would just be really great to go ahead and hear what y'all have just said about your gifts of health, your gifts of wholeness. Because as we finish up, before we go into choose to love, I would just love to hear one word of wisdom from the DJ Mohamed. Give it to us in a minute or less.
Yes. No, thank you very much, Dr. Jody. Thank you all for being here. It's much appreciated to have you all here in the ever present now. It's been phenomenal. You know what? A great kickoff to the summit, and we're bringing in that fire. And all I can really say is we're here to just deliver the jewels, to assist and bring back the energies, frequencies, and vibration, and that love, harmony, and overall health, because you need to choose to live. And health is truly wealth. And with
health,
that news,
harmony, choose to live. And I think we've got a little technical difficulty with Delores and her camera. So this is what you do when you're Master James. We just shuck and jive, do the angle.
Come on now.
Do the angle, do the angle. And Tracie, Michelle, woo! Give us some wisdom.
She came with that fire.
Right to the Master Game Changers. Let's do it together. We go, woo!
Yes.
What is your last piece of wisdom? Because there's so much in you, Miss Ignite Powerhouse.
Listen, I just want to tell all of our listeners that thank you. Thank you for coming on today to listen to us, Dr. Jody, DJ, Denita, and myself, and telling you how you got to live. You got to push through, even when you don't know how. Faith can take you places that your mind can never take you. Keep going. You got this. Listen, when Murphy's Law comes in your life, I want you to look at it and laugh and say, that's all you got? Because I know who's on my side. My Father. He is the Alpha and Omega. Yes.
And I just love and adore you, Tracie, Michelle, DJ Mohamed. And like I said, with the technical difficulties, I just want to honor Deona just for her story. She's such a silent warrior. But yet the powerhouse of, I'm pregnant, I have this. She just won because she chose to live. As somebody who's had a situation with stage 4 melanoma myself, I mean, it's like, you just can't analyze anything. When people say to me, it's the paralysis of analysis, I said, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what paralysis of analysis, because you got to analyze whatever paralyzes you. That's my last word of wisdom, because everybody has those paralyzed times in spirit, mind, but mine happened in body, emotions, socially, financially. But just get through that. As Les Brown says, what you're going through, you will get through. So thank you, Tracie. Thank you, DJ Mohamed. We're moving on from living to loving. Are you ready? And I just want to hear a yes.
Yes.
Okay, and Tracie go, woo!
Woo!
Thank you, DJ. Thank you, Tracie. My just amazing, amazing fellow warrior. And I'm believing that, let's see, add to stream. No, Delores, I'm just going to continue on, and I'm going to, when it seems like your camera is on, we'll just bring you back up. And that's what we do, because that is being a master game changer. We're going into the pillar of choose to love. I loved what DJ said about love being the most important emotion and energy, and how the love of Tracie, that she just went ahead and she knew that son of hers was coming back, and she plumped him up, no problem. Now, didn't she? And I'll tell you something else. Deona loved herself enough and her unborn child to say, I'm going to choose to live. So let's take it up a notch, shall we? I'm choosing to love. That's what it's all about. See, Les Brown says, if it's you who can determine what your future holds, depending on how much time and energy you spend on working on yourself now. Find out what you want. Go after it as if your life depends on it. Because guess what, guys, gals? It does. It does. Don't ever let someone else's opinion become your reality. And if you have children who you love and who you respect, and guess what? That they respect and love you. That's why Tracie's son came home. All right. This too can be a sign of your success. Choose to love. There are two types of relationships, and we'll hear about this on a later time. Nourishing and toxic. Do keep the nourishing. Eliminate the toxic. Why? Because it feels and fills your body. And your body, you choose to have it live in all 6 pillars of your life. And that's what Denita Miller does so well, being a relationship coach. She is a silent warrior, but the most powerful in her simplistic and heartfelt way. Remember when we started out, we put a hand here. Your right side, you felt your pulse. You put the left over your heart. The pulse got stronger. This is what Denita Miller does, because being a relationship coach, she believes that relationships are fun. Animals can't have anything but fun. No, just human beings. That's what Denita Miller does. She helps women prepare for marriage so they can live and love. And check this success rate. If you want to say a game changer, let me tell you something. All the women that she has coached in relationship are now happily married because they chose to love and live a life of abundance because they chose to be with Miss Denita Miller. Denita, the next 10 minutes of yours. Welcome to the stage.
Hi, thank you so much. So yes, I am a singles relationship coach, and today, ladies, I want to talk to you about relationships between men and women. And people often ask me, why did you become a relationship coach? And I tell them my story. When I was 12 or 13 years old, my parents separated. And as a result of that, of course, it put me in a turmoil, and it emotionally, I just wasn't sure what was going on. Did I do something? Was I a bad child? What happened? Why are my parents separated? And the other side of that is I grew up in a small town in Maryland. And so it was about 10 guys and 5 girls. And we did everything together. And I mean everything. And through that process, I learned about platonic friendships. I am an expert in platonic friendships. And as a result of that, I have many male friends and many married friends, and we have wonderful boundaries. So there are never any issues. So then this is what happened. I was watching my friends' parents' relationships, and I noticed a lot of them were having fun in their relationships, holding hands and doing different things. And I was like, okay, so what happened to my mom and dad? Why didn't they make it? Then one day, my grandmother said to me, she said, men are simple creatures. I said, okay. And so I continued to watch, continued to talk to my guy friends, continued to grow, had my own relationships and coaching many people. And I have concluded my grandmother is correct, that men are very simple creatures. And I've also concluded beyond a shadow of relationship. So the thing that I'd like to talk to you about is 2 simple truths. I want to give the women some hope who may be like, Denita, where are all these great men? Because I do believe men are great and wonderful. And then I want to tie it all up and give you an example of how I apply these truths to my own life. Okay, so simple truth number 1. Men love a beautiful smile. It's simple, but I promise you, it is just revolutionary. If you want to catch a man's attention, simply smile. And try this when you get a chance. The next time you're with your grandfather, your father, your uncle, your brother, the man at church, heck, the man at the grocery store, all I want you to do is on purpose smile more than you may do right now. Here's what's going to happen. You're gonna start hearing things like, look at you, beautiful. You're looking good today. I love that smile. Girl, keep smiling. Why? Because it's hard for a man to resist a beautiful smile, ladies. Guess what he didn't say? I like your hair, your nails, your lashes, your this, your that, and the other thing. All of those things are wonderful, but a man cannot resist a good smile. Simple truth number 2. Now you've got to please write this one down. Promise me you'll write this one down. Listen more than you speak. When you are around a man and he is talking, sharing something with you, please just stop and listen. Ladies, most women have to develop this discipline, but I promise you, it will pay off. Now, let me tell you why it works. Because in a man's mind, when you listen to him, he equates that to respect and honor. If you ever want to get a man's attention, show him respect and honor. You don't have to talk a lot. But when you do, as the scripture says, she opens her mouth with wisdom and kindness is on her lips. Ladies, this is a winning formula. What do we have so far? We're smiling and we're listening and we're adding some wisdom when we speak and we're very kind. Now, please hear this one. Let me give you some hope, ladies. The hope is there are great men out here and they are looking and they're still looking for you. Let me give you a tip on where a lot of them are at. Go to your city's convention and Bureau Visitor Center, and sign up on their email list. Why? Because ladies, the doctors, the lawyers, the HVAC guys, the plumbers, the artists, the singers, they are all coming into town for the convention. And what are you going to do? Girl, you're going to go get your, you're going to go sign up and volunteer. That's what you're going to do. You're going to put that lanyard around your neck and you're going to say, hi, my name is Denita and I am a volunteer. Guess what happens? When you're a volunteer, you're free to talk to whomever and they're free to talk to you. Just like that, you have put yourself in the presence of so many wonderful men. I love it. I love it. I love it. Relationships, lady, I'm telling you, they're so much fun. Now, here's your hope. In addition to that, I live here in Metro Atlanta. And by the way, the great Les Brown is here too. So it's a privilege to be in the same state with him. The CDC is also here. And you know the CDC has stats on everything. One of their stats is 12-1. What? 1 man to every 12 women. Ladies, write this down. We don't care how many women there are to men. Why? Because ladies, not many of them are smiling, listening, exercising wisdom, and being kind. So when you apply these principles, you know what happens? It takes you right to the top. You're in the top 5 just like that. And if you take my other simple principles that I have, I think it's about 5, 6 of them all together, and put all those together, ladies, the next thing you'll look up and you'll be doing is you'll be looking for that dress. You know that white dress you're waiting for. You'll be getting ready to go down the aisle, lady, because you will be so irresistible. Men will be coming for you because they are so attracted to a woman who knows how to listen, has wisdom, and is kind. And don't forget that smile. Okay? Now, let me show you how I put all this together. And I promise this works all the time. So don't even feel like it has to be a certain type of man. So what I did was this. I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version. So what I did was I used to stop at this Smoothie King on my way home about 2-3 times a week. One day I found out that this man was the manager. But you know what? He was not very kind. And I was like, why is he not being nice? And so then what happened was I said, you know what? I understand these principles. I am going to help him smile and get some stress off of his shoulders. Ladies, that's what we do. We're women. We help out all the time. We're nurturers. So that's what I did. I put my little plan into progress. And I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. So I always went around to the drive-thru, right? And so then finally one day I connected with him and he was there to take my money. And I said, oh, sir, excuse me. I just want to share with you that I have encountered some of the employees and that their customer service is just excellent. And I want to just congratulate you on your hiring process. Ladies, he looked up at me and was like, oh, thank you. And I went on about my business. Then another time I came there, he made my smoothie. And then I was there again, and he was back at the window again. So what did I say, ladies? What did I say with a smile on my face? I said, sir, I just want to tell you, the last time I was here, you made my smoothie. It was delicious. I don't know if you put your foot in it or what you did, but I just want to say thank you for doing such a great job with my smoothie. Ladies, he looked up, he smiled, he said thank you, and he started talking to me. So guess what happened next, ladies? I kept going back, right? And over time, he started talking to me not only when I was placing my order, but when I came around to pay for it. What did my grandmother say to you? Men are simple creatures. What did I do? I smiled. I listened to him while he was talking, even sometimes when he was just grunting at me. Then I also exercised wisdom on what I said and how I said it. And then I topped it off and I was kind. So 12 to 1 doesn't matter. You will just rise right straight to the top when you apply these principles. I have about 4 or 5 others. You put them all together, ladies, and I want to tell you it's possible for you to have a great relationship. It is very possible. It takes some work, but you can absolutely do it. I thank you so much for listening to me today. If you would like to learn more about what I'm doing, all you need to do is go to Miller Online Services and at gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share it with you. Thank you.
Muted. As they say down south, hold a minute. Hold a minute. Those are just lovely, lovely just tips. And it's true. If you can live, then the next thing is love. And yeah. I want you to hang on around towards the end, because I'm going to do a little wisdom panel with you, and Delores will be speaking on choose to love. And so just hang around for a minute. But what wisdom, what beauty. And I'm just going to say, we just want to know what was in that smoothie. Thank you so much for just sharing your wisdom. And ladies, there is hope, because Denita has it. And so just, I'm so glad. I'm just saying, I'm going to just introduce you, Delores, for real. And Denita, what a pleasure. What an honor.
Thank you.
Love. And I'm just really grateful that we found Delores. Technical difficulties. We love it when IT works. Sometimes it does, but it always works out, doesn't it? Just like, as DJ Mohamed said, the highest energy is the energy of love, the highest energy of all. And Delores is that kind of energetic woman. She's called the comeback coach. If you want to see the interview that I had with Miss Delores, I'm going to say what we say with Stephen Anthony King. I'm so happy to see you. I said, she is frozen in the bed. It was just wonderful to see you.
But Delores, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
I am happy to be here.
And it's just wonderful that I'm able to give my fellow co-hosts and give you your flowers at the very beginning, to give your introduction looking at you. This is very, very special. And I can tell you that Delores, we have been working hand in glove with this event, but you are the hand, I'm the glove. Sometimes with the glove, you're the hand, but you know what, more than anything, you will always have your hand in it, because you just are the woman with the plan. And that is you, Delores. I'm telling you, knowing that you're an award-winning broadcaster, knowing that you have that kind of love and sensitivity and spirit. You're a confidence expert. We know that. Motivational speaker for real, as we all are, being students of the Les Brown Inner Circle. But check this out, gang. She's been on stage with Oprah in her show. So and you know what Les Brown is saying? Oh, can I get a feel like up in here? But she's got a program that goes from victim to victor, and that includes love. She's known as the comeback coach. We made it happen. Planes, trains, automobile. I can tell you what, it's going to be really fun when we do something the next time around. We're going, oh, but it works so smoothly. Well, guess what? That's that love energy, that love conquers all. It was up there. I knew it would. When I sent you that message, I said, love you. It's going to happen. And here we are. Take notes, ladies and gentlemen. Delores Jones, not only has she been on the front of the stage with Oprah and being an anchor, but she's on the back of the stage, being a woman who serves, being a faith-based woman. She has bold moves in her finally free program, that these bold moves so women can get beyond labels, limitations, and low self-esteem, because the fourth L is love. So Delores Jones, my co-host, my woman of the next 2 hours plus, I honor you and give us your wisdom on love. The next 10 minutes is yours.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. Jody. Now listen, as we get into this situation, one of the things that Les Brown taught us is distractions are going to happen, but you have to keep moving. And so I want to talk about toxic relationships and how sometimes those things will be a weapon of mass distraction. And I want to tell you how I got off right after the Oprah Winfrey show. See, sometimes you have a desire, but you align yourself with the wrong person. And in my case, I had. And when I returned from the Oprah Winfrey show, after being featured in this book called Come On, People, what ended up happening is I ended up in the hospital. That's right, you heard me. I ended up at KU laying on a stretcher with a doctor inserting a needle in my lip. My front left tooth had been pushed back in my head by the man who said he loved me. In fact, that day, he said, I love you, Delores. That man was my husband. And I was out of alignment, because how could I stay with someone who said that they loved me one minute, but disfigured me the next? You know, my great grandmother used to say something like this. She would say, Dee Dee, and I would say, yes, grandmother. She said, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, what would you say? She said, are you crazy? See, when you fail to recognize that you are part of the problem, you are responsible for the decisions you make. I had to ask myself, Delores, are you really in love with yourself? I mean, you just came back from one of the most important experiences of your life. It took you 18 years to stand center stage with Oprah Winfrey, but now you're laying here. What's the problem? My picker was off. Do you understand what I mean by that? That means some of us, we go and we pick and choose. Sometimes we pick and choose relationships based upon where we are, not where we're headed. And at one time I was homeless and I was broke down. And somebody captured my heart over $40. Now don't you laugh. Because sometimes you don't have it. See, my mom was gone. She passed away when I was 5. So that relationship. My father was nowhere to be around. So the first time someone showed me attention, I was all in. But one of the things I had to learn, I had to hurry up and grow up. I had to understand I could either focus on the distraction or my destiny. My destiny was calling me to speak to you. That's when I thought about DUMB, destructive, unsettling, miserable behavior. I was miserable at the doctor's office as the dentist tried to reconstruct my smile. But you know what I love about God? Somebody once said, you don't look like what you've been through. Can I get a oop oop up in there? Go ahead and put it in the comments. And so I began to pray and I asked God to fix me from the inside out. Because as we have learned, we're only supposed to have quality people, OQP, only quality people. When Les Brown once said, in life is a fight for territory. And when you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. See, I didn't want to lay on a stretcher anymore. I knew that God had put so much more in me, that he had said to me, you shall live and not die. You will declare and decree what it is that you want, that the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. So this is what I had to do. I had to come to myself. I had to say, Delores said, listen, you need to divorce that man because God has another plan. So the man that I told you about, he became my husband because he was my husband. And then I realized, as Whitney Houston said, that The greatest love of all is inside of myself. The greatest love of all is learning to love myself. And I began to work on Delores Jones. See, what you need to know is when you choose to love, you must love the person you're around the most, yourself. I began to shift my mindset. Les Brown talks about eyesight and mindsight. My mindsight had to align with what God had for me. It had to align with the truths of what love really is. Love is patient, it's kind, it's not easily provoked. It thinks no evil. And let me tell you something, honey, when I began to love myself, I even kiss myself now. I stepped in to another place. I let my past go. I recently heard a quote, and the quote said, your past is for your reference point. It is not your residence. I'm going to say that again. Your past is a reference point, not your residence. And you may be thinking, yeah, but that person is the breadwinner. Let me tell you something. There is so much inside of you, but you have to get in position. And I decided to do that when I was in graduate school. I had a 4-year-old boy, my son, laying across my lap every time I was typing up those papers. But one thing I knew is that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I got my hips in a first-time home buyers program. And when it was all said and done, I had $28,000 in the bank, but I had $65,000 in a grant to purchase my first home. Let me explain something to you. You have to choose you. Nobody else is going to do that. You can hope and a pray and a wish and coming in a Honda and all that other stuff. But until you make a decision, so you get in life, not what you want, but what you must have. I heard someone say it like this. He said, what you want comes out your mouth, but what you expect shows up in your behavior. So I had to show up for myself. I had to attend those classes. I had to admit when I was wrong. I had to look at what it meant to be responsible. And I had to do things differently. See, my strategy of self-love was really about every morning waking up and saying, thank you, God, for another day. And then I would spend the first 20 minutes of my day listening to people like Les Brown, who he said, what happened to you or what somebody says to you doesn't have to become your reality. You get to decide what it is you want. And then, like the song says, you got to walk it out. Honey, I had to walk it out when I didn't feel good. I had to walk it out when I felt great. I had to walk it out when I felt like quitting. And then I learned you have to decide who you can count on and who you got to count out. Because some people will drain you. If they don't add to you, they subtract from you. And this is what you need to know, that before the very foundations of the world, God knew you and he had a plan for you. So every day you need to open up your mouth because the power of life and death is in your tongue. And I know what you're saying. Can that really happen for me? Yes, it's possible. It's necessary. And guess what? It's you. Today, I am now an award-winning journalist. I'm a published author. I'm a speaker with Les Brown's Hungry for Greatness because greatness is inside of me. And I heard somebody tell me you got comeback power, but you got to stir up the gift that is within you. The first gift is be grateful that what had you didn't take you out. The next part is to renew your mind with information that declares and decrees that you're not a punching bag, baby, you're a blessing. You're an angel with answers. You also need to forgive yourself because you didn't know better. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you will do better. And you're going to have the information to do better. But also common sense is common, but it's not common practice. You have to decide to show up 1 foot in front of the other. Eat healthy. Connect with like-minded people. Dr. George Fraser said like this, if you're trying to decide if the person is for you. He said, if the person can't build with you, baby, they can't chill with you. Come on. Somebody needs to put somebody out right now. I'll wait. You are so capable. of being in a wealthy place. When I lost everything, one of the things I realized there were things I could do without. I could do bad all by myself. But with God, with the help of those that He has put around me, honey, I can do great things, because greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. When Dr. Jody opened up this broadcast, she said that the queen, honey, on the chessboard is the most powerful piece on the board. So no matter what you're going through, when you decide to stand in your power, when you decide to choose you, when you try to say no to things that destroy you, that disturb you, when you are willing to stand, come hell or high water, and understand that you're the prize, baby. You're the prize. You are the prize. So keep your eyes on the prize. And what I mean by that, look at yourself every day in the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful, how lovely you are. Look back and give yourself a high five. I look back and I remember I raised a young man by myself with $28,000 in the bank. And when that young man graduated, I paid for 2 cars, 2 car notes, $1,000 worth of rent, and then some, because I knew that my God shall supply all my needs according to His riches and glory. So what I need you to do is to say, you're going to connect. You need to connect with what is going to bring out the best in you. If it doesn't bring and bear good fruit, you don't need it. My grandma used to say something like this. She said, you need a man like you need a hole in your head. I said, Grandma, why do you say that? She said, because before you know who you are, baby, you don't have space for anybody else. But once you get clear on your vision and you make a decision that it is for you, then you're going to come across people. But it's your job to decide, do they fit within my destiny? In closing, let me explain something to you. One day, I heard somebody say, you can't help who you entertain. No, he said, you can't help who's attracted to you, but you can decide who you will entertain. And so I wanted to entertain this person one day. And God touched me on the shoulders. He said, listen here, young woman. I said, huh? He said, you are beyond the stage of somebody helping you feel good. Come through Halle Berry and Monsters Ball. He said, now is the time for you to focus on the person I have to help you fulfill the calling I've had on your life. Because the call doesn't change, but I changed. And I want to share with you that what has happened to me can definitely happen for you. All you have to do is to be willing. You're already able. And all those negative tapes inside of you, honey, listen, you have to erase them and replace them. Did I say erase them and replace them? And then declare and decree that it is for me, and walk it out. And don't you accept anything less but what is best. You got this. Your past is the past. It's a reference point. That relationship is gone. I had a husband, but baby, I have so much joy that is unspeakable. Why? Because the greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself. It is the greatest love of all. I want to see you win. You have what it takes. Choose yourself. Choose yourself. Bet on yourself. Because if you can take it, you can make it. And I know you've taken a whole lot of mess, but now it's time for you to take your rightful place on the throne, honey. Somebody told me one day that the queen never lays her crown down. You need to put it back up and let somebody else help you fix it. Because who you are is who you are, and I don't care what anybody else has to say about it. And when you stand in that power, when you stand in that authority, baby, you're a force to be reckoned with. Did you hear what I'm saying to you? Did you hear what I'm saying to you? All right. So I just want you to know that you're worth it, you're deserving, and you are lacking nothing. I think it was Les Brown. Yeah. He said, in life, there are people who know what happened, and then there's some people who have no idea what happened. And he said there are losers and there are winners, and then there are the people who haven't figured out how to win. And that's why you're here. We're going to show you how to win. We're going to show you how to choose love, choose life, choose wealth, and choose you. Honey, we are waiting on you. The stage is set. I just want to know, are you willing to say yes? Dr. Jody? Let's bring you on back up.
Oh,
I feel the help coming on. I
let's
feel
do
my help
that.
coming on.
Let's do that. Let's do that, Miss Denita. And I'll tell you, I'm going to bring Miss Denita up because we are going to go ahead and talk about what y'all just shared was amazing. Life, opportunity, vision, and it's everyone can have love. That's what it means to me. And I would love to hear, and then I'll come back to you, Delores. I was just thinking about, as I speak as a health coach and nutritionist, I said the biggest mistake people make is that maybe it'll go away in your health. Like maybe it'll go away. Maybe it'll get better. It's the same with that kind of love, but then maybe it'll get better with Denita's techniques, tools, and transformation in relationships. So what's that last piece of wisdom that you would love to give as we wrap up this pillar about choose to love? Denita, what would you like to share with our audience?
I think it's part of what Delores also just said. Make sure first and foremost you part of what we do is we do a self-evaluation first, and we make sure we get ourselves together. And then as we're out there dealing in relationships, there can be so much fun because I'm already who I'm supposed to be and or on my way to that place. And so when I encounter him, I'm free enough to be able to share who I am, my good parts and my bad parts. And he has some of those as well. So together we can just grow and heal and love.
Grow, heal, and love, because it is very true. We throw around these little rhymes and acrostics, whatever, but they're all very true. We are better together. Delores, love everything you said, because I just love you, girl. And what an honor it is. Yes, to be here together and just betting on you. What is your last piece of wisdom that you'd like to share about this pillar before we go into our commercial break?
Well, one of the things I often tell women when I'm speaking to them is don't complain about the things you can change, and don't allow somebody else's problem to become their preference to become your problem. See, you can only serve up what it is that you have to offer. And that's all that is required. If somebody wants somebody that's skinny, send them on down the street if you got hips and lips and fingertips. Understand? It is not your job to change anybody, because changing yourself is a job itself. Go walk in your authority. Keep your crown on, honey. Don't you settle for a clown with a crown. You are better than that. And I'm Delores May Jones, the comeback coach, and I approve this message and anything else that has something to do with you being all that you can be. Amen. All right, now don't get me started, because I will run.
You're just there because we got started and we're going to keep going. And frankly, I know that when it says to choose love, just you deserve a dream house, not a remodel job. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, Delores. Thank you, Denita. We've got all these JDs, DJs, and we're going to go back with our commercial break and some music from DJ Justice. And then the man of our time, the legend, is back. And yes, we have christened him the king with his honorary doctorate. So, Abby, take us out with our commercial break, please. DJ, give us some music.
We make decisions, and our decisions make us. You have something special. You've got greatness in you. When I look at this picture with my brother and I, born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City, and I was labeled educable mental retarded. They called me DT, the dumb twin. No one could have told me, by investing in myself and learning how to communicate, how to present myself, how to speak to one-on-one or small groups or large audiences, that it would dramatically change my life. I'm 77 now, and I'm looking for people who are serious about becoming successful, about becoming a category king, on how to tell their story about themselves or about their business, or how to monetize their dreams and make a difference on the planet. If that's you, I want you to reach out to me. I'm going to teach you how to tell your story, how to use quotes, how to use humor, how to make people laugh and feel good and cry in their tears. Oh, let me tell you something up in here. People say we have the best training program on the planet and train more successful people than anybody on the planet. And you can be the next one. This is your time. This is your moment to turn adversity to your advantage. But you gotta be hungry. You have something special. You got greatness in you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now.
Well, are you ready? I mean,
Oh,
are you ready? Are you hungry
behind the stage?
for a
Now we're on the
life-changing
stage.
experience?
I knew we would be on the stage. We were backstage. We're on the stage. Everything has
I'm
been
so
the stage.
hyped.
Everything has been the stage, even though I've got my mind. That is weird. Can you hear me now, Delores? No.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
And you know what? This is what we do. This is how we roll. Why?
Oh,
because
Mr.
Les Brown has
Yes.
taught us to do that. I can hear you. I can hear you. You work with what you got. You start where you are, you work it. We got you.
I got so much hunger in me because I'm thinking about it.
And you look good.
Oh, we look good. You look good. We all look good. But you know what? He makes us feel good. He makes us feel good. Seeing that
Listen.
commercial, and I'm thinking, Delores, here I was from my coach and mentor of 7 years, Jay Noland. I'm on Clubhouse. He said, you got to go work with him. When you have somebody that believes in you, just go ahead and do it. When you have somebody that believes in you, just go ahead and do it. And guess what? It works. And frankly, he said, you've got to go into this event, and you've got to go in just for a little bit. 13 months later, you heard that. He has created the best coaching platform ever. And I remember, Delores, that he said, you just wait, your story will unfold. And I said, I know I'm 67, but do I really have a story? And then it ends up being a book with Les Brown. And the stories continue because he has a gift. That's why you called him Dr. Les.
What?
And then I will turn it over to you because I want you, before we bring up our icon, to know, Tim, from my heart to yours.
Yes, I did.
Brown, from my heart to yours, Les Brown. This has been the most phenomenal year of my life because we're just getting started. It's been the most phenomenal part of my life because I feel like you've gone down to my pinky toes and up to my pinky finger because you bring it out with passion, purpose, and prayer. There is nobody like him but him. There is nobody like you out there if you have this vision. So Delores, give a little bit of your story before we give Les some of his iconic quotes. I'm sure you have your story as well.
You know, about 25 years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Les Brown here in Kansas City. And I remember being on the radio and I had this article about myself. And I said, I got to give this article to Mr. Les Brown. And I went to him and I didn't see the article. And I said, Mr. Brown, where's the article? He opened up his coat and he says, it's close to my heart. I said, okay. So while I'm in the radio online, I get a phone call. It's Mr. Les Brown. I'm like, what? He says, I'm going to send you the cassette tape. I still have it, honey, of Choosing Your Future. Little did I know I was going to be hit with homelessness and divorce and mental health challenges. But when I tell you I ate it up continually. I just kept eating and eating and eating. And who would have known but God that I would have the pleasure to be endorsed by the one who gave me what I was going to need to choose my own future. And I just got to say thank you, because everybody doesn't do that, honey. People want to help you, but they don't want to help you do better than they are. But Mr. Les Brown is one of a kind. He's not just a mentor. He's a man on a mission.
He has been on the mission for 50 years.
He's a man on a mission.
This Choosing Your Future for 50 years. And think about it, it's been around
50 years.
50 years he has been at this. I'm telling you right now, I think he is, we say we degenerate as we get older. I think he is regenerating. He is slim, he is young, and he is just full of fun, but full of faith, purpose, and just like his Choosing Your Future says. And as we just bring him up on stage, when he says, choosing your future, it is done. Know that wanting something is not enough. You must hunger for it till it's done. Your motivation must be absolutely compelling in order to overcome the obstacles that will invariably come your way. And Delores, give us his quote on choosing your future. It is now, please. Did you freeze it?
Choosing your future. It's now. Life has no limitations. No, I'm here. Can you hear me? I can hear me.
Yes.
You got me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. He says, it's now. Life has no limitations except the ones you make. Start living in that limitless future. It's now.
It is
Mr.
now.
Les Brown. Are you ready?
We are ready. And let me tell you, we are
Put
so
now
ready.
in the comments.
The GOAT, the greatest of all time, the global voice, the one and only. DJ, give Les Brown, Dr. Les, some music, please.
Hey, listen, thank you so much. Listen, Dr. Jody and Delores, it's a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. It's always a treat when great people meet. How many of you agree with that? Put yes in the comment section if you agree with that. I want to share a few thoughts with you right now to confirm some things that Delores has said and Dr. Jody and other presenters. But most importantly, right now, I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you did a personal inventory? A personal inventory. I've been looking at myself, looking at my life, and I realized when I looked at myself, sometimes you can get caught up in doing something and your life starts using you, and you're not using your life to the extent that you can to maximize your potential. And what triggered this, I was working on my computer and it asked a question. Are you ready for an update? See, there are moments in our lives that we have to look at ourselves, see where we are, and acknowledge that where we are is not where we should be. Now, here's the danger of that many times, see, when you keep in mind that we have been programmed to fail, we've been programmed to live a small life. And so when you have been programmed through your culture, through your environment, through the things that you've seen, your exposure, your conversations, to live a small life, after a while, living a small life becomes your normal. What really jarred my life when I went to work with my mother on Miami Beach and she was cleaning homes and I had the responsibility of cutting the grass and shining Mr. Swiderski's shoes and walking around these big, beautiful mansions. And then at the end, we had to catch a bus and go back across the Venetian Causeway to Overtown and Liberty City and Poverty. And I used to ask Mama, why can't we stay where they are staying? And she said, we just can't. And I asked, you know how children are, why, Mama? She said, we just can't. And I can tell that she was uncomfortable with me pushing and asking and requiring an answer that I did not get. And as I looked, as we were crossing the Venetian Causeway, I saw myself living on Miami Beach. I saw myself having a place that was beautiful and I can invite my friends and we can enjoy each other. I saw myself in that kind of environment. I want you to check yourself right now and ask yourself the question, are you living the life the way that you want to live your life? Because that's what I decided to do. I decided to live my life the way that I want to live my life. There are some of you listening to me right now. If you knew you had 3 months to live, there are certain things that you would stop instantly. Like the job that you go to. Over 87% of people go to jobs that they hate. If I knew I had 3 months to live, I would increase my speaking engagements. I would do more podcasts. I would do more interviews. I would do more summits. Why? This is the calling on my life. I'm living my life the way that I want to leave my life. I will leave here speaking. I told my children, when they tell you, your daddy gone, he died, don't let them embalm me for 3 days and sneak into the morgue and put a microphone in my hand. And if I don't grab it and say, you got to be hungry, say, okay, y'all can bury him now. So this is a time, you know, as we say, this is a time for a checkup from the neck up. When you look at your state of mind, because your state of mind has produced the life that you are now living. People don't live life as it is. People live life as they are. So congratulations to your watching, to your listening. They're friends that you know that should be watching this, should be listening to this, and they're not. Why? Because we have been in a culture that program you to be a spectator, to be a fan. If you look at the number of people that watch and begin to observe and incorporate the ideas that can change people's lives in the summit, those numbers compared to sporting events, old movies, old basketball games, old football games, old fighting events, the numbers are far greater. Why? The majority of people have been programmed to be spectators and fans. The road to life, it takes more to live than it is to survive. The road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it. And the reason is, few there be that are looking for it. You're looking for it. See, we're living in a time, in an information age where knowledge is the new currency. See, today, ignorance is a choice. It's a choice. And so when I look at my computer, ask, are you ready for an update? Check, do it now or later. Do it now. What is it that you're going to learn today that you didn't know yesterday? If you live your life like that, if you make a commitment like that, my sister said to me, Margaret Ann, you know, you're doing things in this digital age that people your age don't do. And another friend of mine just said that to me. And I knew what she was referring to. None of my brothers even know how to send an email. Why? Because they weren't willing to focus, put the time in, put the effort in to learn something new. One of the things I love to quote Robert Schuller on, this is a time you either expand or you are expendable. And there are a lot of people, they're obsolete in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their skills in this new world order. Things have dramatically changed, and they're continuing to change. Got a friend of mine funeralizing her nephew. He's so stressed out, he committed suicide. Our children are watching us. And part of what's important right now is building mental resiliency, expanding our vision of ourselves, having a ritual that will strengthen us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and providing an environment for ourselves, for our children, for the people we care about, to begin to fortify them and give them some help and assistance. And I truly believe that Horace Mann had a point when he said we should be ashamed to die until we have made some major contribution to humankind. These speakers that you're listening to now, they've put in some work, they've put in some effort, they're studying in an ongoing way so that they can create value for you. If you've learned some things, if you've got some insight, or has it been able to inspire you to revisit some of your dreams, I want you to put yes in the comment section, and some hearts, and some fire. Because, see, it's one thing for people to be sitting around arguing about who's the GOAT, who's the greatest between Michael Jordan and LeBron. That's one thing. But it's something else to ask who's the greatest of all time in my life, the life that I'm living. See, most people are dying unlived lives. Most people go to their graves living a misplaced life. Oh, yes, they're intelligent, and their family members and friends will tell you, oh, they know a lot. But see, knowing a lot is not enough. What are you going to do with it? Knowing and applying are two different things. And most people are not aware the life that they're living has already been downloaded in their subconscious mind, that they're only operating off 5% of their mental capacity, because most people don't stop to check themselves, to update themselves, to examine themselves, to look at their life and ask, is this me? To look at their relationship and ask, is this me? To look at the future, them, and ask, what is it that I need to do to become that person that I'm looking at, that I envision? My favorite book says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. What do you see for yourself? I don't see myself at 75. I believe you forget your years will forget you. I learned that from Dr. Johnny Corbin from Christ Universal Temple Church in Chicago. So I'm not operating like I'm 77. I'm operating out of the time that I have left on this planet and what we know during this place. I have a friend who lost 3 relatives in less than 2 weeks, that life is fragile and it has no duplicate. And so I love what Dr. Miles Monroe said, live full and die empty. Live full. Use all your talents. Allow life to use you up. You have greatness in you. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You're greater than your adversities. You're greater than anything that has happened to you. Don't just settle for your life as it is. And I had to face that. I had to own that. And I had to particularly do that with myself. And there's certain things that can trigger you. I heard something that triggered me. I got stuck in my losing weight. And then I saw a quote, and it was called, Master Your Kingdom. And I thought about it. Wait a minute. Master your kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Those things that you want, those things that you envision for yourself, those things that you are hungry for. And then it hit me. You can't have a kingdom. And they said, the kingdom of God is within you. You can't have a kingdom without a king. And kings rule. I've been allowing my stomach to rule me. Nothing tastes as good as health feels. I was talking a good game about losing weight, about getting a 6-pack. But at the same time, I was a servant. I was not a king in my own kingdom. And here's what I realized, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you have to put your foot down and say, no, because most of us are living out the habits, the download of the programming that we picked up in our environment. That's why Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. We've been conditioned to think small, to live small, and we have now, through this process alone, this game-changing process, to reverse the conditioning so that we can step out of our history and live out of our imagination. He said, I'll give you all your eyes can see, and work to manifest a new life for ourselves. Abraham Lincoln said, the future belongs to those who create it. What are you creating? Here's something else. As you think about yourself, please put your mute buttons on. Please, I can hear sounds. It's distracting. Put your mute buttons on, all of you. Here's the other thing. Not only it's important that you look at yourself and check yourself out and ask yourself, is this the best you got? You know, I live in Atlanta now, and they got some roaches that need to go to Weight Watchers. And I sprayed one of these big fat roaches that were flying. They got flying roaches. Okay. And I sprayed one of those roaches. He snatched the black flag from me and sprayed me back. He said, "This all you got? You better go put your mask on." And you know what? When you have goals and dreams, you know what? You're going to have some stuff happen to you, and life's going to slap you side the head, and you're going to be trying to fight back and throwing your best punches, and life going to say, is this all you got? No. Why? What do you mean by that? Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. See, Frederick Douglass was right. He said, we might not get everything we fight for, but everything we get, there will be a fight. Transformation requires a fight. Being disciplined requires a fight of managing yourself, of managing your time. And here's something else. Check your life out. Check out your relationships and ask yourself the question, do these relationships empower me? Do they bring value to my life? See, there are people who are always there when they need you. But when you need them, you can't find them. I remember listening about an interview. Remember the brother who made that song, MC Hammer, Can't Touch This. They asked him, said, how did you lose millions of dollars? You know what he said? I didn't lose millions of dollars. I just listened to too many stories from my friends. And when the money ran out, they ran out of his life. And he rebuilt his life with a limited number of friends. You got to ask the question, who should I count on and who should I count out? That's major right now. You don't want anybody in your space that don't bring any value. You want everybody who's in your life, in this space where we are, in and out of the pandemic, they must have some value, some skill, some knowledge, some resources, some contacts that you don't have. If you're serious about implementing the game-changing ideas that these speakers are presenting to you, if you're serious about upgrading your life, if you're serious about getting out of your head and into your greatness, if you're serious about expanding your vision of yourself, this is the time that you got to be serious. This is the time. We've never been in a place like this before. They got young people. They're looking at mental health professionals to help young people to develop the coping skills of resiliency, because young people as young as 5 years old have been committing suicide. Our children are listening to us. Our children are watching us. This young man that will be funeralized tomorrow, only 32 years young, and he took himself out. And I say to you, it's not enough for us to say, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. We are more than conquerors. No. It's not just about lip service. It's about life service. It's about what is it you're doing to build yourself and strengthen yourself so you can live your life from the inside out rather than just from the outside in. And here's something else. And I'm really a stickler for this with myself. I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself. It is a time where you have to manage the distractions in your life. I told myself I was looking for something dealing with reducing inflammation in my body. And then other things start coming up on my phone dealing with inflammation, the vegetables I should eat, the ones that I should not eat, the things that I should do to reduce inflammation in my body. How's that possible? I just put in one inquiry and now I'm getting a stream of advertising. I want you to write this down. Behavioral marketing. We're being listened to. Everything you do on your computer, everything that you do on your phone, they have algorithms that's monitoring that, and they develop the languaging approach and the advertising techniques to seduce you and take you down rabbit holes to get stuff that you don't even want. I remember going to the store just to get 3 things. And then when you get to the counter in a grocery store, guess what? The big wide store, but when you get in line, going to the cashier, the aisle is very narrow. Why? And there are products on the right and products on the left. Why? For impulse. There are things that you pick up and don't even think about it, that you didn't even go there for. I can't tell you the number of times I went to the store to get 3 things, got in line, and I had to go put some stuff back because I didn't have enough money. I mean, at this time, I wasn't poor. I was po. I just P-O. Come on. The lady should have said, you know what? Put some of that stuff back. You know you ain't got enough money. And I mean, I remember standing in line and giving my debit card. I have my fingers crossed, my legs crossed, my eyes crossed. Just hoping, I hope it gets clear. I was calling on the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Poverty sucks. Who are you really? Are you living a life that's you? You're made in the likeness and image of God. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. If this is a game-changing moment for you, if you're ready to create a shift in your life to live a legendary life, part of one of the most important things you can do now, and I'm doing this now, not only evaluating my current relationships, but making alignments and creating partnerships with other individuals who have knowledge, who have skills, who have contacts and resources that I don't have. And looking at an agreement that I can provide value for them and they can provide value for me. Creating, write this down, collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. That's where we are right now. Let all of your so-called friends sit around and talk about who's the greatest, who's the GOAT. But you want to be the GOAT in your life, the greatest of all times, because you only get one. There's no duplicate. Life is God's gift to you, and how you live your life is your gift to God. You want God to see you as an MVP in your life, the most valuable player in your life. Because you weren't born to be a spectator, to be a fan. No. My friends call me that I went to school with. Oh, you're really busy. You're all over the internet. I say, yeah. What are you doing? Oh, I live my life. Are you calling me from the cemetery? I didn't know people who are taking a dirt nap had phone breaks and can call their friends they went to school with. Are you dead? No, I'm not dead, man. You said you've lived your life. I don't understand that. You know why there's high dementia and Alzheimer's?
I was reading this study because people stop reading, they stop learning, they stop reaching, they don't have goals. Someone asked the question, when is it that a man or woman dies? And the answer was, when their dreams die. I still got dreams. I've got children. I've got grandchildren. I've got 4 great-grandsons. My goal is to leave a legacy, not a liability. My goal is to live my life in such a way that they won't have to have a GoFundMe and start selling chicken sandwiches and T-shirts to bury my behind, like a lot of people are doing today. I was looking for a friend of mine who trained me in radio, Nick with a solid kick in Miami. And then I went online and they had a GoFundMe for his burial. No, you have something special. You have greatness in you. And I just want to leave this with you. Think about it. I'll say it again and again. Think about your life. You are an unrepeatable miracle. You are a masterpiece. You were designed to be a winner, but we have been programmed to fail. No. Don't underestimate you. You don't know enough about yourself to be a critic. You don't know enough about yourself to say what you can't do. Sometimes you have to become intelligently ignorant. How many of you have ever done something and you didn't know you can do it and you surprised yourself and you said, I can't believe that I'm doing this? Put yes in the comment section if you can feel a brother up in here, up in here. You have something special. You have greatness in you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Oh, Mr. Brown. So please let us restart our computer and know that I am so blessed. That you are my life, and I'm not sure where you got an echo, but we'll figure it out. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I'm going to
Mr. Les Brown. I'm coming for you.
Yes, we are. So I think we got that little technical glitch figured out, Delores, and it's now our time. Now that we have been served at this table of true life lessons.